Hi, I'm Norman Su from UC Santa Cruz, and I'll be talking about research on the crossroads of tech work, critique, and emotions on behalf of my collaborators, Amanda Lazar at the University of Maryland and Lilly Irani at UC San Diego. Tech companies were once exalted by the public, but recent critiques of tech work in the US have revealed striking examples of cultural entitlement, exploitation of user data, development of technologies that harm the most vulnerable, and an overriding concern with profit over worker voices. Collectively, this techlash attached a moral taint to technology companies. In this research, we asked, how does techlash affect the lives of tech workers inside and outside their organizations? In other words, how is this whirlwind of rage, inquiry, and accountability emotionally affecting these employees? So, we conducted nearly 20 interviews with technology workers. All are involved in technical or design roles that influence product development. Following suggestions that visual methods can allow workers to better articulate feelings, we also asked our informants to visually sketch and discuss a representation of a memorable critique coming from outside the company. Here we see a sketch depicting a coworker receiving a critique about ruining democracy from his brother, and an alteration of the sketch depicting what he wished his brother said instead, a more constructive critique. We also seek to make a methodological contribution to CSCW via our analysis and writing style. The findings in our paper are written in a style distinct from normative styles of writing up qualitative work in CSCW and draw from anthropologist Kathleen Stewart's experiment in ethnography. From our interviews, we developed individual stories that seek to project the affective experiences of our informants in their rawness. As a result, our findings adopt a more provisional, open-ended mood. By slowing down the usual jump to representational thinking, we hope readers can become a co-actor with our text. Here's an example of a scene we call Ivory Tower Hypocrisy under the header, The Vocal Tech Worker Inside. Through Twitter, she found out her own company, Hummingbird, was using AI for nefarious purposes. Frankie was very upset, but was also impressed at how openly people were discussing and complaining with leaders, even in a town hall meeting. She was touched to see people walking out and telling their C-level directors face-to-face, "This is wrong." She's very aware that the company she works at is not perfect. Corporations are not good. They are there to make money and make mistakes. Since starting at Hummingbird, Frankie has had time to mull over her time in academia. She's realized that academics are very comfortable doing critiques of industry, but academics aren't so good at critiquing academia. And so Hummingbird was a contrast. It was nice to see a company, not perfect, has a lot of flaws, has a lot of problems, whose workers were explicitly emailing the entire company to be like, "This is not okay." Tech workers were mobilizing and challenging C-level executives to defend their decisions at the hot mic in company-wide stream forums. Collectively, these stories are the emotional habitus of tech work. Sociologist Deborah Gold describes the emotional habitus as the prevailing way to feel and act. In tech companies, the habitus orients one to both political actions and inactions. Rationality and technological hopes drive towards constructive criticisms and technological solutionism. Feelings like anger and sadness, on the other hand, are rendered out of place in the emotional habitus. We also saw that critique is now ordinary, precisely what gives it power. It is pervasive and inescapable. One might encounter techlash through a linked article received at work by a loved one to a physical confrontation in the subway. Critique has a peculiar asymmetric character. Critics have a powerful mouthpiece via social media, but organizational structures limit how workers can reply to critique. Instead, workers seek alternative spaces like private IMs, but emotions of fear and shame still exist. I end by noting that crises like techlash offer new ways of making sense of the world, shifting the dominant emotional habitus, prying open cracks to new models of creating solidarity between critics and tech workers. New networking events like that established by the Tech Workers Coalition provide a space where people can openly vent frustrations and gripes about the tech industry, as opposed to mainstream spaces where the expectation is that you are very cheerful and optimistic and enthusiastic. New system views suggest a wider scope of relevant voices on technology, like having tech workers ally with critics to better target collective energies, and the role of educators to train tech workers in alternative repertoires of emotional and action strategies. Ironically, this short video presentation is in some sense antithetical to the goals of our paper. So please read our informant stories, reach your own conclusions, and point us to new political horizons. Thank you.